Hi, everybody. My name is Donna Gorton. Welcome to my show, Willows Bend. So tonight we have a slight conglomeration of shows mishmashed together. Uh, I had decided that I would finish up the topics that we had on the table of the 1-800 golf tip line thingy, just to kind of clear the, because since we kind of decided that we were going to go back and do over some of the past shows that were lost with the original archives, do them over, and that way they're on the Soma Fusion archives and saved and so forth, and be protected that way. So we only had that golf tip line left on the table for the voting block, so to speak. So, can't open the feed up. So with that said, that only was like 4 pages worth of notes. So I had to figure out something else to add to it. Hi, Sandy and Mary, letting you know I see you guys. So, interestingly, it is going to impact my chat interactions of typing in the box. I didn't think it would because it was Katie sharing the feed in, but I guess it does. So I can't type back to you. My apologies. So, and they apparently added time to my Facebook jail stuff. I don't see where they could do that, but they did. Well, I guess they could do anything they wanted, but it's currently saying I still have 24 more hours left to being blocked and in Facebook jail. So your guess is as good as mine. Thank you, Sandy, for sharing it out. Hey, Tanya. So anyway, it's ridiculously stupid. It was a ridiculously stupid reason how I got in there anyway, but so suffice to say, I will not be back in action again until tomorrow night, probably by 9 o'clock or something, unless they go ahead and change it again on me again without notifying me. So, I mean, I got in Saturday night just before 8. So by my math, 2 days is now, but it still says 24 hours left. So anyhow, it is what it is, what it is, what it is, right? Hi, everybody. Hi, Doreen. So hope everyone is well. Everybody who I didn't talk to on Christmas, that you had a nice holiday. So before we get started, I always do like a sage blessing for everybody. So let's do that first. Get that out of the way and done. So just so everyone knows, I will be out. I should be out of Facebook jail tomorrow night instead of tonight. I didn't get notified of them adding more time to it, but apparently they must have, or they do a different form of math than what I do. One of the two. How are you, Doreen? And anybody who happens to be watching the show, like on YouTube, whatever, you see me looking off to the side, it's because I monitor the group's chat in my Facebook group, because anything you say will end up there anyway. So it's just easier for everybody to get to see me in there. So with this sage, I cast a circle of protection around everybody who is watching the show tonight, no matter where you are watching it in, whether live or for the replay. May everybody be protected from harm or any ill will from anyone. Hi, Karen. And may that circle of protection follow you outside of the show or replay, whichever you are watching, into your personal lives to keep you safe from ill will or harm there as well. And for a prosperous new year. So I will it, so mote it be. There we go. Yeah, it's very stupid. I completely agree, Sandy. It's ridiculous. And again, that they add a little bit more time to it without telling me. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't pretend to get it. It's Facebook after all, So what I had started to say before everybody came in is that I kind of combined topics to clear the table. So last week we had voted on Island of the Dolls, which I thought I previously had covered somewhere else along the line. I remember doing it, but I could not find my notes on it anywhere. I don't know why, but I went through all my notebooks 3 times and did not find it. So I don't know where it disappeared to. But it's still a smaller topic anyway. There's literally only so much that can be said about it. Certainly not even an hour-long show about it. Yeah, I thought so, Tanya. Like, I know I'd covered it, but I wasn't finding it unless I'm missing a notebook, which, you know, isn't impossible, of course, but I keep them all together in the other rooms, and I went through every single one twice and didn't find it. So, don't know. So maybe I am missing one. I don't know where it would be if it's not with the others, but anyhow, it is a smaller topic anyway, unless you go over, yeah, I could drag it out and go over each and every person's individual experience there, but, it's kind of repetitive in my opinion. I don't know. See, I do have a notebook, labeled as, the with Willows Bend After Dark notebook that's just for those shows, and it wasn't in there written down, but yeah, mine too, Mary. So that's why I thought I'd covered it, but I wasn't finding it. So anyway, I redid them. But it still is, like 4 pages worth of notes. So that would be like a 15-minute show. Hi, Deb and Kim. So I did that. And the only other topic left on the table was the 1-800 golf tip line mystery. So I did that to take up some space and make it a full show. But even that one was also kind of limiting. And so I decided that I would pick up a different topic from an older show that we're going to be end up covering anyway. So I may as well throw it in there for tonight. So that's the plan for tonight. Mishmash topics. Works. So let's see. Island of the Dolls. We'll start with that one first. So Island of the Dolls, aka Isla de las Muncas. Is that right? No, Munacas, sorry. Is located just south of Mexico City between the canals of Huaxamico. Your mind is always multitasking, Karen. So that's normal. Dolls are, you either love them or you hate them. It's one of those things, I think, Tanya. Like some people, collect them and find them lovely, and others are just utterly creeped out by them. Now, they do have a history, paranormally, supernaturally, whatever you want to call it, that says basically that they can be used as like a repository for one's spirit. You can go in there, and there are certain areas of the world that believe that is what happens. Do I say it's impossible? No. Why one would choose to, I don't know, but unless it's, they're just attached to the doll because they loved it in life, perhaps, but that they're said that they can hold the soul of a person. Yeah. Somehow that doesn't surprise me, Karen, that you love creepy dolls. So, the history of this is this island, which is really more like a floating garden of lilies, but it has kind of over time created its own little tiny island. It was originally owned by a gentleman by the name of Don Julian Santana Barbera. And according to legend, there was a young girl who had drowned entangled amongst the lilies of the canal. Now, she was said to be about 5 years old, give or take. Her little body was found on the banks of the Santapa Chinapas. There we go. Yep, that's it. Santana he used to claim that he would hear the girl crying, like in the middle of the night, crying out, "I want my doll." And allegedly there was a doll that was found next to her body on the bank of the island. He found the doll and he hung it up in the tree because he was terrified, and he thought, like, here, take your doll, just leave me alone, but here's the doll. So he hung it up there, and he also thought it would keep away evil spirits. Now, there has been records were spottily kept, of course, in more remote areas of the world, even in recent times, they still are. So there is nothing like a written record of this young girl having drowned there, but that's what the legend says anyway. But the gentleman does exist. I did see up-to-date pictures of him back when all this was supposed to have first had happened to him, as well as what he looked like not too long before he died. Which was under mysterious circumstances. At least that's what they referenced that at. I don't think it's that mysterious, but all the legend says so. So he hung her doll that he found next to her body in a tree to kind of say, here's your doll, leave me alone, but take the doll, and also to ward off any other evil spirits that might be lurking about. Rather superstitious gentleman. And he mysteriously, supposedly died of a heart attack in the exact same spot that the little girl's body had been found in. Is it possible? Yeah, he could have dropped of a heart attack. People die of heart attacks all the time. Would it be, hey, Sandy, in the exact same place that her body was found in? I mean, did they mark it to know that? I'm not sure, but that's what the legend says of it anyway. And I'm not sure why. It's mysterious that he had a heart attack. You know, he was an older guy when he died, so not too unusual. Many believe that the spirit of the little girl caused his death somehow. She is still said to haunt the island to this day. So we're going to jump ahead now to 1987, and it really became like an eco-tourist rescue spot. Ecotourism aims to promote protection of lands without, destroying them through building, fancy hotels and things like that on it, to leave as little of a mark behind. You can, to bring tourists in, see the place without damaging it to see it. So it's more like, it's eco-friendly tourism. So, hey, Linda. So in 1987, an eco-tourist rescue was made of this island, and it was found absolutely covered in water lilies. And oh no, I'm still in jail, Linda. Technically, I'm only able to do the show because of broadcasting with Katie and Soma Fusion. That's the only way we're able to do it. I'm still technically in Facebook jail for 24 hours next, still to come. They added time, apparently, because it should have been up right before the show started tonight, and it's not. So, yeah. So, it's said that whenever you're approaching this island by boat, which is the only way there, that all of a sudden, like, all sound stops. You can't hear any birds singing or insects or anything else. It's just like dead quiet as you get near this island, which adds to the creep factor of it. Yeah, it's stupid, Linda, because the comment wasn't even, it was completely taken out of context, as Facebook is known to do. So I can't get back on until tomorrow night. So the place began gaining fame back in 1943, actually, when Emilio Fernandez, who was a Mexican filmmaker, filmed a film called Maria Condolari there. I have to read my own writing here. Hey, Stace and Lori. So since then, it has been featured on, like, in the Huffington Post, the Travel Channel, and even ABC News has focused stories on this island. Yeah, Facebook fuckery at its finest. So since then, a lot of paranormal teams go out there and will rent the island out. The Hokey Pokey show, Ghost Adventures, has also done a big thing out there once. And, so of course all the dolls are possessed because Zach Bagan says so. I am, Lori. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's just tender back there to the touch now, but it doesn't hurt to, just, if I'm not touching it, it doesn't hurt. As that, it's like like a bone deep bruise, because that's really what it was. And that's going to be sore for a while, I guess, but I otherwise feel fine. But thank you. So, also, since Santana first hung the doll belonging to the little girl, tourists would also do the same, and they would bring their own doll to hang up to add to the growing numbers of dolls there. Now, Santana, he was always on the lookout for dolls, like when he'd go to the mainland for supplies or whatever. If he'd to people's trashes, he didn't care. Even if dolls were missing body parts, he would still bring them back to the island and string them up. So there are dolls there that have no arms or legs, or missing one of the above, can be broken, have a broken eye, whatever it is, no hair, half its hair. Some of them are obviously in rougher shape than others from being exposed to the elements for so long. But outsiders, the tourists, bring a doll also to kind of make an offering. to add to the collection. So at this point, there's hundreds of dolls hung on this island from every available surface of trees and bushes and tacked to this the one building that's on the site of the island. It is just inundated, like they're everywhere. So it is still visited today by both the eco tourists as well as paranormal investigators alike. It's also been featured in an episode of the Spanish comedy Nosotros los Guapos. In addition to the dolls, the island has a small museum with articles from local newspapers about both the previous owner as well as the island itself. And there's a store on site, 3 rooms. The first room holds the original doll, as well as Santana's favorite doll, Augustinita. So those are there. And oddly, some visitors have actually kind of taken to turning the original doll into kind of a shrine, and some will place offerings to the doll and leave behind different gifts for the doll in hopes for an exchange for miracles or blessings given to them. It's almost kind of developed into its own little cult there. In that way, it's believes this doll has the power to do those sorts of things, and others maintain the shrine as a form of like how do you want to say it, kind of like is their dedication to the spirit of the doll, and as a form of worshiping it, that they will take care of it. Very weird, Sandy. Yep. Local legends say that many of the hundreds of dolls that hang around the island, some of which will move their heads, their eyes, and their arms will also move and change positions. The eyes may follow them, or with their clothes, normally they have been seen and photographed opening by themselves. Some claim that they've also heard the dolls whispering to themselves, amongst themselves, I guess, as the dolls, but also whispering to the people who might be there to see and check out the island. Julian always maintained that the little girl's spirit came through all the other dolls he'd collected through the years. And he had collected over 100 of them himself before he died. So then with whatever the tourists and stuff would all bring through the years as well, you know. Is there a talk? Yeah, I mean, that actually doesn't surprise me. There would be a talking one, considering all the dolls that are being brought in from the outside world and stuff. I think I may have seen a clip of that once, but of course, in Ghost Adventures format, I'm sure it's demons that are running everything there, and Zach probably got possessed or something along the way. Sorry, I'm not a fan of that show because it gives true paranormal investigating a bad name because he's so melodramatic and it's very scripted. So anyhow, visitors do just keep bringing and adding more and more dolls every time somebody goes out to the island, and that's really about the bulk of the topic, is that it still continues today as a touristy spot, and people still keep adding to the number of dolls that are there and going out there for investigations and stuff. But everybody who's approached the island, part of it's going to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going out there expecting and being aware that, hey, this place is creepy, and so that I could experience this. And so you're kind of primed for experiencing something, so that is going to contribute to your interpretation of it before you even step foot on the place. But that has been said before, that like all sound kind of cuts out once you're approaching the island. No birds, no insects, no nothing. So according to one of Zach Biggins, the whole island is full of demons. Yeah, like some saying, like, everything's a demon to him. I have a doll that plays music. Sometimes it plays itself out of the clear. Interesting. Try to communicate with it, Nancy. Just saying. It's an option anyway. So that's really it for Island of the Dolls. It's still an ongoing destination, and people still regularly go out there to pay homage to the little girl spirit on the island, and with the shrine and stuff, and maintaining the shrine, and to leave their own little donation doll, if you will, and burn it. It isn't necessarily something to be afraid of, though, because, like I said, it's kind of just like any haunted object, if you will. It doesn't mean it's a demonic thing that's attached to it. It could just be whoever owned it in life loved it so much that they kind of, left some of their energetic goo attached to it, or, could be spiritually attached. Yeah, kind of weird, but not scary, basically. Then again, I'm not bothered by dolls at all either. I'm not one of those people that are. And like I said, you either are or you're not. It's one of those things that there doesn't seem to be an in between. Yeah, basically, Renee. He's got his own issues for sure, but he's definitely into the showmanship of it. So the next topic that I did to kind of, like I said, if we're going to go back and redo all the old shows over again that were lost from the archives, then I just figured clear the table. And since that was such a short topic, I did the golf 1-800 golf tip mystery line. Now this is, I think people's interpretation of it's more weird than anything else here. You'll see. So, what is this golf tip line thing? So, back in the 1990s from Canada, this was a really strange call in line, and it was being advertised even like on roadside billboards. And at this point, it's more left to people's recollection who had experienced either calling the line or saw the billboards for themselves firsthand and said, yep, and described as they were and where they were located and stuff. So it did exist, and but people kind of treat it like the Mandela effect applies, which it's not that complicated to me, but people run with it. So the number was 1-800 golf, spelled out GOLF dash tip, and that was like the phone number of it. So what was the mystery involved here? So if you called it back then, there was this weird looping recording of a man counting from 1 to 10 slowly. And if you let it finish counting, then after another several seconds, it was said that a really loud, synthetic sounding, weird siren type sound would blare over the phone. So keep that description in mind. Due to the billboard ads for it, people thought that it was, a valid ad. Why wouldn't it be? And there actually was at one point a phone line to get pro golf tips that you could call in and, pay for X amount per call. And it seemed like it was all over Canada. So the only sources out there for information on this are those who are kind of obsessed with the topic or of solving it. And a lot of it came through Reddit users. Reddit is an app where people submit their stories and things about wide variety of topics and can belong to different groups and so forth. It's another social media site, but it's more about, people's stories and things of that experiences, whatever the topic is. So there was a Reddit user whose username is, oh, hi, I get jokes. It is, oh, hi, get jokes. He posted about remembering that he and his friends used to call it daily to see if it had changed at all. So there is kind of like a predisposition to be kind of obsessive about it. Are you a Redditor? I've never used the app myself, but I'm aware of it. Once in a while, I'll use it as a firsthand account of a story that pertains to some topic we're covering, like, I don't know, a paranormal experience, for example. I may use a story from there as a source of someone who had experienced something, but it's not, I'm not on it. Yeah, that's what I've heard about it, that they post some real wild stuff on there. So people used to call this line almost obsessively to see had it changed, and not just from one location, like at their home phone. They would call it from payphones. They'd call it from a mall, friends' houses, sometimes multiple times a day, just to see, did this recording change at all? And then they would tear it apart in depth. Of like, how many breaths did he take during the recording of his counting? Was it did he take a breath on the 5th count, or was it the 6th count that he took a breath, or was it both? Like, a little bit much. People were discussing, and apparently at home, school, and work, it became like, the water cooler topic of the week, so to speak. People were reporting, trying to call it from, again, even payphones to see what had changed, even if they had to keep plugging in the quarters to do it. Back in the day, it was probably only a dime, but, still. So opinions were of what this is. People thought that the strange man whose voice it was sounded possibly East Indian, but that's based on a teenager's recollection, no experience of the world, essentially. Back then, kids didn't know a lot about different accents, but that in people's memories, that's what they thought it sounded like. We find it odd looking back on it now, just with this, with trying to figure out what you're supposed to learn from it or what its purpose was. What the hell did it mean? It has to mean something. They were obsessed about it. Also, people were perplexed that someone would spend so much money on it because, buying a billboard ad in and of itself, that's costly to have, never mind multiple ones, as well as buying, rights to an exclusive phone number that spells out something. And those are given out differently depending on the location and the type of business. So, it's kind of an expensive thing to do if it's not alternate means behind it, is what people's thoughts were. I learned how to use payphones for free. I've never fed money into payphone. Nifty little trick there. So so nobody really knows if it was some weird experiment or to what end the purpose it was that it served. Now, as of January 6th of 2020, you fed the plenty. What do you mean, Tanya? Paperclip, huh? Not aware of that trick. You'll have to show us in book group. Not that there's many payphones around anymore, but so it has, as of January 6, 2020, it has been verified that the billboards were erected at least in Ontario, Canada. So it wasn't necessarily throughout the whole U.S. and Canada territories. It was mainly up in the Ontario territories. The recordings were heard in St. Catharines, Toronto, and Ottawa, Canada. None of them are too far from each other and still within the province of Ontario. Fed to phone was, oh yeah. No, I think we all did at one point or another, except for Karen, who learned how to, So one Reddit user had become really obsessed with solving this mystery. So this guy pulled together and collated all the various posts that anybody had ever made about this and comparing the different stories. And I used to call Mom collect on payphones and she would deny and call back. That's a cheaper way to do it, though. It was expensive to accept collect calls. So this guy who had nothing better to do with his time, I guess, he kind of became obsessed with solving the mystery of this. He pulled together all the different posts that he could find from online pertaining to this golf tip mystery thing, and people's memories and recollections of, what it sounded like, and comparing and contrasting and hyper-focusing on it. Some people even go as far to debate as to which part of the recording, like I said, the guy paused to take a breath in, whether he, if he had nefarious means behind it, or even if perhaps he paid for his own 1-800 number, but then didn't end up using it. That would have been handy to know it back then, yes. Some swear that they do remember being active back in the 1980s as well, just that it was more active in 1990. So I'm guessing it probably would have been like in the late 80s into the early 90s. Mention was found in validation of its existence in a student newspaper on July 29, 1993 of the Charlatan. And it was put out by the college students of Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada, as part of an article on 6 things that they like, hate, and just don't care about. And that was listed as the one that they don't care about. So it was validated that this thing did exist. Remember when my kids ran up a $300 phone bill? So glad those days are over. Oh, yeah. Ooh, I'm on the big screen. So at one point, the number was indeed a valid golf tip line, where if you called it, it would have recorded pro golfers giving a tip on how to improve your swing or whatever. I'm not a golfer, so don't know anything about that. But the actual tip line was changed by 2011, and it was apparently the number was freed after 2011. Like whoever had it had rights to it after that. After 2011, it kind of went back into the mix, and people could choose to have for it. Just call a number to hear a message from Rick Springfield. That's cute. And so it was after that picked up by a Mayfair Communications or Primetel Communications, grabbed the number up. And in the modern era, which not that the 1990s were so far away, did you ever have the number you could call to get the time and temperature? Yes, I do remember that. It was what information used to be. Yeah, that started being a money-making thing back then. So now when you call the 1-800-GOLF tip line, there is no countdown recording on it, nor does it reach the USA Today PGA pro golfers giving tips on your golf game. It is now actually an adult chat paid service. Like, you can call and if you're over 18 for a big fee, those 1-800 numbers that you can call to get hooked up with, basically it's like the old form of sexting, to have a dirty phone call with somebody, essentially. So use mine every now and then. It's from First Citizens Bank. Huh. Interesting. So it is now an adult hotline, which is a bit weird for a number that spells out golf tip, but that's what is. So if you call the number now, that's what you'll get, is one of those like pay per phone call things that, it's like $10 a minute or something like that to get some random phone sex line things. Speculation does continue as to what this was supposed to be and why, as 800 numbers are sourced out to different geological areas for different reasons. So an 800 number that is a specific business in the United States would not be the same for, say, Canada. It would have, have a different number for that territory. Many seem to approach the whole thing as one does, like the Mandela Effect, except that, there is evidence that it did exist by being validated, not just by individuals' memories, but that there was discussed in the student newspaper as well. Basically, Renee. And I do know that the billboards did exist at one point in Ontario, Canada. So others just seem to file it under kind of an X-Files type of thing. Unexplained, and they don't know what it was supposed to be. Now, if you remember a few minutes ago, I talked about how the description of it and how it ended in that kind of like blaring noise type thing. And so apparently there was this old time singer from the 50s, I think she was, and Kitty something or other her name was. And she used to, as her career was kind of waning down in popularity, she went to recording different tones and things. You're funny. Basically, yeah. And so she went to recording different tones. So what people describe it as, or think that it was now, is, so if you remember in the old days, well, it may even happen now with the house phone. If you leave the phone off the hook for a set amount of time, the phone will give like a kind of like type of tone, letting you know, oh, I didn't hang it up right. And that's what people kind of liken the tone heard on the tip line sounding like, which, so they're kind of saying, okay, well, is this something that was, the guy maybe was counting in order to test the line, never went back and finished it, and then it had that obnoxious tone to it at the end. saying like he didn't disconnect the line right or something. I don't know, but that's the theories on it anyway. It is very weird, but yeah, it's now a phone sex line. 8675309. Yep. So Kitty Wells, maybe that was her name, Sandy. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize it, so I didn't write the whole thing out, but I just remember her name. It had a picture, like a headshot of her, and it was from, she was big in the 40s and 50s by the looks of her, and that she went on to do the tones for the different tones the phone makes: busy signal, fast, you get that fast busy signal, and that obnoxious tone you get if you leave it off the hook. So some people wonder if that's not the siren-y sound that they heard at the end of the call after the guy got done counting to 10. What the counting was about, I can't even begin to imagine what the purpose of that would have been. I got nothing on that, but it is very unusual and very odd, but it was mainly in Ontario, Canada. So that is the entire golf tip mystery. So I thought to kind of round things out, we could, since we're doing over shows, this one goes back to the beginning of last year, February 2020, February 20th, 2020. So it was like 2020. And it was what we covered for karma. This is just a random one I picked because it was at the beginning of this notebook, and that's what we went with. So I figured we would jump into that and kind of go over that one as well. Yeah, I don't know, because people were calling it obsessively because it was an 800 number. I don't know if he even got paid for it, really. Hi, Faith. So I don't, it wasn't as if it was like a 1-900 call. Like that's more what we find for the adult hotline call things now. But this was an 800 number. Very strange. I got nothing other than I think the people are just way too obsessed with something as little as that and preoccupied with that to that extent to worry about it. I recorded a recording for a disconnected phone and played it when collection agencies. Yeah, so I mean, I can put on my house phone and get that same tone now. If I left it and didn't hang it up, it would start blaring that, type of noise. But people compared all the different tones out there, even, and lining them all up and listening to them and comparing and contrasting them. And that's the one that they said closest fits what their memories of it are for what it sounded like. So, karma. Karma is a Hindu and Buddhism idea that is, fix my glasses, is the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence and viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. It's not meant to be a punisher and, like, oh, karma's a bitch, wait till they get theirs. No, it's not what it's about. It's more, I've always likened it to when I'm talking about it with you guys as a group, just kind of randomly. I liken it as a balancing act or a balancer, because it is taking, anything you may not have finished resolving in this lifetime or working out, learning the lesson of, well, you're going to have to face off with it at some point. So that's more what it's about. It's going to follow you into your future existences until you deal with it. Or you get the lesson behind it. Did I freeze? I look like I froze. I did freeze. Okay, I'm frozen. I can't comment, so I will jump out and jump back in, I guess. You're there, Katie, for me to jump back in? I don't know why I froze, but I did. So we're going to jump back A couple people said that I was also frozen, and half said that I wasn't. So I'm not sure, but I'm gonna refresh within the group and see if that makes a difference anyway. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm back now anyway. So hi, sorry guys. Um, didn't for anybody I might have froze with it did on my end, but I'm back in and we're up and running again. Thank you. So karma. Um, all right. So it is viewed as affecting, your future existences. Take a look around. I will be right with you. And no, I'm not worried about what is here or anything. Not at all. So in Sanskrit, the word karma means act or action or word. And the law of karma teaches us that all of our thoughts, words, and actions begin a chain of cause and effect right away. And it may not even be in this lifetime, but it can be counted on as going to be happening at some point, nonetheless, regardless, even if there isn't the balancing of things in this lifetime, it will happen. You have a cause and effect. If I do this in this lifetime, well, then this is going to be the outcome of that, regardless if it happens now or not, or, but people like to look at it as a punishing thing. It's not. So it allows us to make progress on our soul's evolution. Karma can be positive or negative depending on the choices you make with your own free will. It returns to us all the energy from all the kind and loving thoughts and deeds that we send out into the world. Not everything that happens to us is caused by this cosmic law. Before birth, our souls make a soul contract of sorts where we agree via free will to all that will happen in new life. Some souls volunteer to do good deeds or sacrifice on behalf of loved ones or to impact or hurt innocent people in some cases. So, to our present actions, it can impact our future lives in both nature and quality via karma. Karma is interpreted differently across different belief systems. It's not like a one size fits all thing because, like I said, it's like a Hindu and a Buddhist belief system. So, like deeds attract an equal like karma. The effect of karma may be material, moral, or emotional, and affecting one's happiness or unhappiness. Karma is in and of itself isn't as a reward and consequence, but the law that produces consequences. So every act has a consequence, which you guys have heard me talk about before, of good, bad, or otherwise. Sometimes you get a good result out of a choice you make, sometimes not, and then sometimes it just is. Okay, Lori, hope you're okay. So the karma concept encourages people to live a good life and a moral one and avoid an immoral life. So reincarnation kind of ties into this in terms of all life forms go through cycles of rebirths and births. So, you keep going around. The reincarnated lives may be in a different realm, condition, or form from what we are today. And you're always going to, because there's not going to be learning that takes place if you just keep repeating the exact same life. You're going to, sometimes you'll change forms and you go to wherever that form is that is going to stand to teach you the lessons you done the next track around. So the karma theory suggests it is going to determine what realm and condition and form that you choose is going to depend on what kind of quality you get and how much of it of the karma you're going to get. So in schools who believe in reincarnation, every living being's soul transmigrate cycles after carrying seeds of correct impulses from life to just completed to another lifetime of karma, and that this cycle continues indefinitely, except in those who consciously break the cycle by reaching what is known as, if I can say it right, moksha, which I think is a Hindu word. It reaches the realms of the God power, and it doesn't no longer continues just to be reincarnated in cycles. So basically, you've gotten all the lessons you kind of need to get to and to learn, and then from there you can kind of decide what you're going to do with things after that. And you don't have to keep choosing to reincarnate. You can voluntarily choose to come back just because you want that experience, but you don't have to. So this concept is carried with slight variations with Eastern religions. And in Western culture, it's influenced by Christianity. We have similar ideas, even key phrases that work into our culture. Like, can you guys, any of you think of some of those? I mentioned one at the beginning, if anyone's paying attention. What types of things do you guys hear regarding karma or misconceptions you may have had in the past about it? I can think of a solid handful right off the top. You guys are quiet tonight. Oh my goodness. Like karma's a bitch, like payback's a bitch, and then you die, that type of thing. It's still kind of related to karma, or, wait till karma gets a hold of them. Yep, exactly. And, like the idea that it's to pay you back or punish you for what you did, or what, in your opinion, that someone else did wrong, but is it our right to judge somebody else of what they did on their path, of whether it's right or wrong or not? What comes around goes around. Yep. Which also kind of tunes into the idea of reincarnation as well, of, what soul keeps going around and it's going to come back through again. Karma's fun to watch. It'll all come back to you. Yep. Yeah. So those different notions, that's kind of worked into our culture over time, even though the idea of karma didn't originate with us. So in Christianity, karma is akin to the notion of sins and its effects that come from being a sinner. The Bible has taught such concepts as one reaps, one sows, and that's from Galatians 6:7. And live by the sword, die by the sword, Matthew 26:52. Robert Peterman is a wonderful author, and karma is one of her characters. Oh, interesting. Huh. Another one could be eye for an eye, even in Christianity, that, someone does you wrong, well, you better go, and it's okay for you to go and do it back to them because they did it to you first. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. The biggest difference is that Christianity believes in concepts of the last judgment, and that's the end of things, and that there's like a one-time review of the end of your life, and then done deal. Reincarnation isn't really a belief for most Christians. Whereas karma is an ongoing process that occurs every day of one's life, life after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. It keeps going until you're kind of gone through all the reincarnational cycles you need to learn what you need to learn. Karma was popularized in Western culture by a work of the Theosophical Society. My ex cheated on me. He thought he got instant karma. Seymour. And that's why he got testicular cancer and listable. I won't argue with that. Yeah, but that in a way could be a form of karma, but it also could be a self-fulfilling prophecy that he knew he did wrong. So he's kind of, his emotions control things on a cellular level. And so his guilt over that could have, manifested cancer to happen. Who knows? So yeah, maybe. Or, a piece of shit in his lifetime because he was a cheater. So the Theosophical Society is made up of those who are, it was a wealthier bunch of older men, predominantly, who got together and discussed all these types of ideas amongst themselves. Kind of like the men's social club type of thing, except for higher logic. So to them, karma here was a precursor to neo-pagan law of return, or the threefold law. And that's also seen with the threefold law in Wiccan belief systems. And this is the idea that beneficial or harmful effects one has on the world will return to oneself. And it can be summed up as what goes around comes around, which one of you said in chat. And they're also ones who teach humans not only reincarnate as one teaches reincarnation as humans, animals to animals, and other organisms, that there's, you learn these lessons, and it doesn't have to be from, you're not limited to just come back as a human forevermore or as an animal forevermore. You're not bound by those things. So there's 4 laws of karma. The first one is this. Number 1 is certainty and unfailing of karma. That positive causes will basically have different results in positive effects and negative and with negative. So if you do a good thing, well, you're going to have a good outcome, and if you do a bad thing, you'll have a bad outcome. Number 2, karma will increase and expand. So a very small amount of karma can become very large effect of happiness, and a small negative amount can become intense suffering. We need to change in order to remove negative karma, basically improve how you're conducting your life. If you are stepping back and taking stock of where you're at in your life, are you, a real negative person? Well, that's all you're going to be surrounded with in your reality is more negativity. And vice versa. If you're a really good person and you do good things, then you're going to have many blessings in your life. Number 3 is if the karma has not been created, the effect won't be experienced. So if you haven't screwed up or done something that needed rebalancing, it's not going to, accrue, if you will, to be taken care of or experienced. It's just, there won't be a consequence. And by consequence, I mean even a teachable moment pertaining to something. Number 4, karma already generated, but not ever be lost. So like you already having generated karma, but it's not ever lost. You don't ever get rid of karma in your reincarnational path. And that's basically the 4 rules of karma in a nutshell. So it's really about cause and effect. And again, not all cause and effect is bad. It's resulting actions determine the results and the payoff you're going to get out of something you do or don't do. So what you put out will come back to you. And like we talked about in the Seth Speaks material, well, he talked about in that material, that with those types of ideals, that you can change the reality you exist in but you got to ultimately change that core belief that's behind it before it'll change what's around you. If you can't get past that point, even if it's a subconscious thought, which we never quite worked out how you're supposed to address it if it's a subconscious thought, but he says it is possible, then, you're not going to be able to change the reality of that which is around you to know. So, we all take stock in our lives every now and again and step back and say, either I'm happy with where my life's going in, or I'm really unhappy, I'm stuck in a rut, and how can I fix this? When you find yourself in a hole of your own creation that you've dug, you don't keep digging, you start looking for a way back up out of the hole, right? So like that in and of itself is kind of like what karma is to kind of right the wrongs or anything that hasn't been going well. You kind of can flip it. It does. I used to be very negative. Yeah, absolutely. And I wasn't always, I won't say negative, like a negative Nelly or anything, but a realistic person where if it did suck, I had made no qualms about stating how much it sucked. And to a degree, I haven't changed that really, except that I look more on the bright side to say, well, it could always be worse. At least it's not blah, 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 which is true. There's always somebody else out there who has it worse off than you do. But then it's not a competition over who has it the worst, Exactly. That's what I consider myself now, Karen, as a positive realist. So I put a positive spin on it, but I am realistic and I don't put a pretty bow on it if it doesn't deserve one. Whereas I've been told by some people that, it's better to lie and not hurt someone's feelings than to be honest and have to, have them hear the truth. Well, no, I disagree, because then you're wrong, because you're lying to somebody. Don't do it just to be nice. If they need, sometimes you need to hear the truth of things. But that's how I view it anyway. So that is karma in a nutshell. And so next week I figure, and if you guys at any time want a different topic done than what I'm planning on, that's fine. And I'm figuring on calling the awakening. It might hurt feelings. I will follow up with a cupcake, right? If I have a boogie. Exactly, Tanya. If I have a booger hanging on my nose, please tell me. I'm the person who will go up and say, someone who just came out of the bathroom, hey, you got a piece of toilet paper stuck to the heel of your shoe, or hey, your skirt line, the hemline is stuck in the back waistband of your pantyhose. I'm not one to just not say it because it's not necessarily nice to hear. So, but I've been told that, it's better to not say anything or to lie than it is to tell the truth and hurt someone's feelings. Well, I'd rather be hurt by the truth than fooled by a lie. That's my outlook on it. And I give everybody else that same respect. And tequila, yep. So what you put out will come back to you. And I do, emotions, intentions, and thoughts do create the reality in which we live in. So if you are perpetually in a state that is full of anxiety and fear and depression and anger and hatred and all that stuff, well, you're going to create more of that to surround you in your path. And that's always a good judge of what kind of a person you are, is by what surrounds you in your environment, the people who surround you and support you or not. That's a good judge of how you're doing in life. I find it's fun to yell for someone to stop. Say I love this game while grabbing the TP tail. It could be fun. So it's a matter of choice. And the more positive you can be, at least having a positive outlook. It's fine to be a realist, absolutely, but to be honest about things. But look on the bright side about things. Don't hyper focus on the bad stuff, because through mindful thinking of the bad stuff, you're going to create things to be going wrong in your life constantly. So it's personal choice, but we can't impact those other choices in other people. We can try to plant a seed, but it's ultimately up to them. So if there's no issues, then next Monday I will do the show on the process of one's awakening and go through those stages. I know Kim was definitely interested in that, and figuring if she is, there's probably others are too who'd like a refresher on that. And then book group will be resuming Wednesday again as normal for this coming week. And then Friday night of next week, we have the Soma Fusion online New Year's Eve party that everyone is welcome to join and come hang out with us. And the theme is going to be PJs and tiaras. Bring your own bottle. Have fun. So the post on that is pinned to the top of Willows Bend, if anyone's interested. But I'm going to be participating in that as well. You guys know I got my tiaras, and I have to wear my pajamas on the show, my hoodies. So that's like my standard wear for cold weather wear is those hoodies. Yeah. And whatever kind of drink you want. I'm going to probably pick up a bottle of rum and Coke and have that. It'll be probably easiest to fix and keep up with. Probably won't take me much because I haven't drank in so long, but we're going to have fun. Katie's already created a whole playlist of music for it, and so I'll be singing and dancing and just hanging out. Huh? You're responsible for your own actions at that point, but it'll be preserved and for posterity. Yeah, yeah. Tanya can't hear you, huh? Talking about basically, Tanya, and for anyone else who may not be able to hear Katie talking, that there is that's on her wall. Um, yeah, saying she lost sound. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I don't know. Are you guys? Can you guys can at least hear me? Because then I can just repeat what she said. Some here, same here. Okay. So basically, she has been doing a broadcast for celebrating New Year's Eve for like 4 years now. There is a previous year's post to give you an example of how what it's like on her wall that you can check out if you're interested. And can't either seems to be three chats, one on Soma, one on Willow's bed, and one on YouTube. Weird. Can hear me but not Katie. When I think when Katie talks, I lose sound. That's weird, huh? Okay, well, then I'll say what she said for you. So if you're interested, you are welcome to join us on Zoom and hang out with us, or come and wish everybody a collective happy new year. However, just she's saying be aware that if you are and you are going to drink, that it's going to be preserved for posterity's sake. So don't get too carried away, or else you're going to be never hear the end of it. Probably will be the outcome of that, but that's our plan anyway for New Year's Eve. Last New Year's Eve I was busy helping with it was a charity fundraising event. I think it was benefiting the domestic violence, something with having to do with domestic violence anyway. um but this year, yeah, we're gonna do it up. So at any rate, you're all welcome to join us or hang out and chat with us if you don't feel comfortable coming on camera, but you can, or calling in even, that's fine too. Hubs will be asleep by 9 and I have no issue making an ass out of myself. Well, that's kind of how I look at it too. We haven't, so many of us have been locked inside and away from any sort of celebration for New Year's for a good couple years now, besides watching a ball drop on TV or something. And even that kind of lost its fun with no crowds allowed in New York City. Um, so it's a way to get together and kind of let off some steam and welcome in 2022. So that'll be on this coming Friday, the 31st. So the post about it is pinned to the top. Willow's been, and all the important stuff is pinned. Kind of a talent. It is a talent you have, yes. So you're welcome to join us for that. So Monday, like I said, I'll be doing the Awakenings process previous show to redo it again, and then Wednesday book group, and then Friday partying it up. I'll be at my niece's playing games, but we'll try to pop on. Okay, cool. If you want to join us on the New Year's Eve stream video, you can be on video, but be aware if you're tipsy, everyone will see it, but anything goes. Talk about this year's crap. Yeah, it's like just letting off steam, and so many people have not been able to get with their loved ones for New Year's Eve celebration stuff because of, COVID and all that. So it'll be a way to hang out without being all up in each other's faces. So yeah, we will have fun, I promise. So you are welcome. And the post is in the group if anyone is interested in the details. And, we'll talk more about it as we go along leading up to it as well. But so that is about it, my lovelies. Yeah, well, we're going to make it different. So there we go. You got Zoom on your phone. Yeah, and you could download it as well. And, it's not that hard to find. I have it on my tablet. So my app store had it. My app store doesn't have crap. So there you go. So with that, my lovelies, I will call it a night, and I will hopefully be out of Facebook jail within another 23 hours from now. Yeah. Yeah, Epic DJ mix remix made by her. And yep, you got Zoom also. So yeah, like, you're welcome to pop on and join the fun. Hope you have a wonderful week as well, Sandy. So I will see you everybody when I get out of Facebook jail. And until then, behave without me overseeing everybody. I can't even respond to anyone's posts. It's ridiculous. I can't even click like or not. So anyhow, thank you, Linda. You guys have a wonderful night as well. And I will see you guys Wednesday for book group then, 8 p.m. Eastern time in here. I should be out of jail by then. If not, we'll do it the same way we did it before. So there you go. So love to everybody. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful rest of the night. I heard the other YouTube she did on Remix. It was cool. Yeah. So we'll have fun with it. So good night. Love everybody. Be well. And I will see you guys once I'm out of Facebook jail. I almost made a bar thing to use for the show to put over top of my screen to kind of like represent like Facebook jail. Anyway, love you guys. Good night.